Intel culture awareness to our fellow colleagues here at Intel.
That's really great. Can I have the committee members please raise their hands if you're in the room right now? That's awesome. I would also like to introduce to you our two new presidents or co-presidents, Rishik Bajaj and Neetu Elizabeth Simon. I don't think they're in the room right now, they're outside, but once again, we'll definitely introduce them to you.
Moving on, now that we have all the housework done, all of you must be wondering what are these tickets that have been handed out to you after registration. I would ask, how many of you know about Tambola? How many of you have played Tambola? Quite a lot of it. So Vishal, can you go over the rules of Tambola?
Sure. It's actually great to see that a lot of you have already played Tambola in the past, but just a quick refresher. As you can see, the ticket provided to you has rows and columns of numbers. Along with the ticket, you would also have been given a toothpick. So what you need to do is use this toothpick to gently mark the number that will be called out by our volunteer here. So now let's begin Tambola.
Prashant, can we have the first number? Congratulations, we have a winner here.
For those of you who are wondering what the prize is, there was Rishik's bank balance and his credit card details. You can use it as you like, all free for you. Well, now that we're done with bingo, it's not over yet, because we will have one more round of bingo towards the end, where we will have another opportunity for you to win. So if you have tickets pending with you, please keep them as is, and we'll redo this. Prashant's going to help us out. We'll continue from this point as we left it. Well, now that we're done with bingo, let's begin. Let's dive straight into the performances. It's too early for that. Let's talk a bit about Diwali. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why we celebrate this festival, and we have a lot of power-packed performances for you, some songs, a stand-up comedy. We have henna at the back. We also have some food set up on the right side here. So Ritika, take it away.
Diwali is a festival that we have been celebrating with a lot of pomp and show year by year at Intel. And based on last year's feedback, a lot of you had requested some extra information about Hindu mythology and culture. Rather than us standing here and blabbering about it, we are going to crowdsource this information. Diwali is based on a very popular Hindu mythological novel, that is Ramayana. Lord Ram, along with his wife Sita and brother Lakshman, went on an exile for 14 years.
So based on that feedback, I have a question for the audience. I'm sure you all watch sci-fi movies like Star Wars, Star Trek, and in all of these movies, we see force fields. In Hindu mythology, there is a similar force field which cannot be breached from the outside but just the inside. What's the name of this force field? Any takers?
Do we have any guesses here? What is the force field that can only be breached from inside? Someone, come on.
Come on, it's a very simple answer.
Lakshman Rekha, that's right. So this Lakshman created this line as a protective ring around the hut. Ravan, an evil Jamin, was impressed by Sita's beauty. But try as he may, he could not enter this line. He could not enter that line, and that's the reason Ravan had to trick Sita into crossing the line rather than him going inside.
So now let me ask you the next question. Modern engineers today are working on aeroplanes that can, work on AI. They're working on a lot of separate aeroplanes that can drive themselves, cars, self-driving cars. But Hindu mythology, once again, has an ideology of an aeroplane that can fly just through mind control. Do any of you know what that is called?
And if you have observed the slides, Vikas already put them up there. So,
that's
what
correct.
is the aircraft? Just shout it out. I know most of you know it.
That's correct.
Pushpak Viman. That's right. Ravan flew Sita all the way to Sri Lanka in this chariot that was drawn by birds. In his quest to find his wife, Ram quickly assembles an army of monkeys. But how does he cross the massive ocean between India and Sri Lanka?
That is an interesting conundrum. In fact, if you look from the NASA maps, you'll see a small bridge that connects India with Sri Lanka. Myth has it that this was built by Nal and Neem. Can you imagine a bridge made of floating stones? Do you know what that is called? Any takers for this question?
Ram
That is
Setu.
correct.
That's right. 50 kilometers and 5 days. This was built by two monkeys who had the curse that whatever they throw into water would keep floating. And that's how Ram invaded the kingdom of gold, Ravan's Lanka.
Awesome. Another medical marvel that a lot of scientists have worked on and have been able to replicate this feat in reptiles. You also see the specific superpower with some of the villains that you might see in movies. The name of the villain would be Hydra. This superpower is also present with Ravan. What is this power that we are talking about?
What is the scientific power?
That is correct.
That's correct. Ravan had the boon that of his 20 hands and 10 heads, even if one is cut off, it would regenerate itself. He could only be killed if the arrow hits his belly button. And like all awesome stories, our hero managed to aim right at the target, killing the villain and rescuing his wife back to Ayodhya, their homeland.
Thank you, Ritika. Now that we know why we celebrate Diwali and what we are doing here today, let's dive straight into the performances without any delay.